Okie dokie. So this is going to be my first video audit. And I was super excited to do it. And then I started thinking about it. And then I got extremely nervous. And I'm probably going to start sweating profusely. I even put on an undershirt. I don't think it's going to help. I forgot who even asked me to audit this. So I forget who asked me to audit this. But this is a high-end brand. They do leather goods. And my video is probably going to be a little bit slower because I've got the screen recording on. But basically, it looks like they're selling high-end products, generally over the $300 price range. I mean, a wallet's $100. So you're definitely working with a very niche, specific audience. One thing I like, so this is the website. I'm not going to audit the website because I'm not like a website expert, but I could already tell this is a Shopify. I would just probably change up here the free shipping over 300. I would just say free shipping across the board because, I mean, $100 wallet, I'd like free shipping and everything else looks priced over 300. One thing I do like is that you've integrated your Instagram feed right here. When I point, I don't think it shows up on the thing, but you've integrated your Instagram feed here. That's really cool. I think I mentioned this is a Shopify site. It's a great platform for e-commerce. I mean, Kylie Jenner has, I don't even know how much revenue she's driving through her, lip kit line, but that's a Shopify site as well. So if it's good enough for like $100 million a year business, it's good enough for pretty much any business. And, there's different tiers, like with a basic tiers like $29 a month, and then it goes up to a few $100s a month when you're really scaling and driving traffic. Here's one thing here I noticed: sign up for a newsletter and enter for our monthly draw for a $100 gift card. So we should probably, that's a cool offer. I would probably maybe offer 20% off to everybody who signs up instead, because I don't know how many people sign up to your website, but I don't expect to win a $100 gift card. 20% off makes more sense. It's $100 off of a $500 product. But I don't know what your margins are in this case. I'm hoping they're at least 50%, so you do have that wiggle room. You also need to consider what's the cost per acquisition for one of these customers, and then what's the lifetime value of one of these customers. Do they buy once or once a year, or do they buy multiple times? Of course, if you look at Pareto's law, the top 20% and the top 10% are going to spend as like way more than the lower 80%. So you want to find out who that audience is too. You could use Google Analytics for that. All right, let's get to the social media. So we've got a Facebook, we have an Instagram, and we have a Twitter. I already have them popped up. And when I first looked at it, I'm like, oh, they're doing a great job. Like, why should I even audit this? Because there's nothing I could suggest. One thing I would suggest on the inspirational quote is make it a little bit more legible. Just because I really like the color and the feel, but people are scrolling on Instagram, and if we're going to have something thumb stopping, we need to know kind of like what we're seeing and reading. And then here's another thing too I saw. So this is cool. One thing I've noticed here is if you look, you've got your hashtags, which is awesome. I am an advocate for hashtags. I'm an advocate for 30 hashtags on every post, but you're posting the same hashtags on every post, and I would mix up your hashtags. Another thing I would do is I would take this batch of hashtags and I would paste them in the first comment. So if you post on Instagram and immediately paste your hashtags in the comment, they will rank and they will do well. And then when someone clicks on your post, they won't see this. It'll just be mixed in with the other comments. So that's pretty good too. A great way to get hashtags is displaypurposes.com. And maybe you use this for some of yours. I noticed you had a couple brand hashtags in there too, and that's cool. But here now you can mix up different styles. So we're going to do travel because you have a travel post. cut and paste, or you could do multiple hashtags. You could travel and leather, or fashion, or so there's so many different varieties, and I would test different varieties and paste different things. So you have different batches of hashtags, because you could exhaust them pretty quickly on Instagram if you're posting the same ones. And that's why your engagement probably, it could be a little bit higher. Whoops, I went to Wolf and Shepherd, who's someone I want to use as a case study, an example of your content, I'd say, is as good as theirs. So overall, the look and feel is good. It looks high quality. You're going for a specific look because you're going for a specific audience. Somebody could buy a Gucci backpack for the same price as this, but that's a completely different demographic. I'm assuming you're probably going for people of a higher level, who have a better conscience, who make better financial decisions and have the income to make the right decisions. Because when you pay twice as much for a backpack, that's $300 or $400. You're going to get so much more value on the long term, even though on the short term, it's a chunk of change for the majority of people. So I'm thinking like doctors, lawyers, things of that nature, marketing people. I'd probably fall into this demographic, even though I shop at the 99-cent store. But like this backpack, I know has a thing where I could put my little MacBook in there. So, okay. And you have a good following. That's not bad. And you're not following a lot of people. So you've got some social proof here. You don't need to have 1 billion followers. One thing I would like to see content-wise, and I show this on your Facebook too. I don't see many videos. And videos are really valuable. So you have a 2-minute video here. Let's take a look at this video real quick. It looks like time. So this is a time-lapse sunset in Spain. Okay. So we get the picture. It's a sunset. That's cool. Let me take a look at this video real quick. All right, cool. So that's cool. And then you have the exhibit video. One thing I would suggest you do, and it's worth testing. Everything I say isn't like perfect, but everything's worth a test. And videos are super valuable. You could frame them and keep them short for Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and even LinkedIn. And then on YouTube, you could have them longer and more of that size frame. I think it's 19 by. I don't remember the dimensions off the top of my head, but videos are cool. And one thing you guys have in your message that I think could be done in the videos, like this example right here. So this is, one of your employees, and you guys outsourcing. I didn't read the full message, but I understand you're probably giving back to the community in certain areas. And then in the background, I see all this cool stuff going on. It looks like a warehouse. They probably have a lot of material. Like behind the scenes content could be great. But also if you had a time-lapse video of this woman making a bag, or her and her team putting a bag together, and you just film that over the course of however long it takes, and then you speed it up within a minute frame, that would be really awesome. And I would actually use that for an ad on Facebook. And let me show you, actually, I have used it on an ad for Facebook for another client of mine. Let's go to, get out of here. So this is a client of mine. They also sell, accessories in a little bit lower than the price range you're selling, but they're still, not cheap. So, their hats are in the $100 to $400 range. My computer's so slow. So, the music's debatable. I actually made this video. But this is just a minute process of the hat being, and it's done very well organically, and then I boosted it a few times, and and all I did was I went to their YouTube channel and I saw, this was like an hour-long video, and then I just exported it and I sped it up to a minute, and it's really cool. But this is a great strategy too. So you could do a brand awareness play. So you have someone, you do your targeting. Once you have your targeting in place, if you already have traffic to your site, hold on. So one thing I noticed about your site, you do have pixels. So this is good. That means that you could retarget people. So if you've had enough traffic to your site, then you could build lookalike audiences based on those people. And if you've had enough purchases, I would actually base lookalike audiences off the people who've purchased your products, because you're finding people similar to that. And then I would run a time-lapse video to them as an initial brand awareness. And then anyone who's watched more than like 15 or 30 seconds of that video, you could retarget with more product posts, whether it's like slideshows of your product or something else, to drive traffic to your website, optimized for landing page views. And then you could also retarget based off of that, with the specific product they viewed. And, maybe after a while you offer an incentive, whether it's to sign up for your newsletter for percentage off, or you want people to take action, and percentage offs really work. I know a lot of luxury brands don't want to do that, and it's understandable because it might tarnish their brand or whatever, but people buy when you give a discount, because it's just human psychology. And speaking of Facebook ads, when I go to your Facebook here, I don't see any ads running. So I would set aside a budget for Facebook ads. You want to drive some traffic to your site. And another good source for cold traffic outside of Facebook ads is influencers. So here's an idea for you. This will also benefit the growth in your page, and it'll also help you get really high quality content at not much of an additional cost than paying the influencer. And I have an influencer in mind that I don't think he's done many deals yet. What's his name? So he is with Sarah Underwood a lot, and this guy makes cabin houses. So this is Sarah Underwood. And she's a model and a, what's the word? Traveler? Wayfarer. That's the word I was looking for. But this guy here who makes these cabins, I think would be the perfect influencer. He has just under 200,000. I don't know if he has many brand deals, but he makes these cabins, right? Simple, elegant. And I think he'd be really good to talk to about sending some product to him and maybe putting him on a modest monthly retainer, negotiating something with him, and seeing if he would be willing to, as he travels around the States and do what he does, take some product photos too. And also have him test your products out in the wilderness, because he's out there, he's doing things. Obviously a lot of his content is about the cabins, but it also captures some of the lifestyle. And I just could tell you he's a good photographer, and he's out all over the place in the wilderness. Like, why not? He probably falls within the demographic of a high quality thing. I mean, he might make his own backpack just because he seems extremely resourceful. But this is someone I would put on the influencer list to reach out to. A note about influencers too is they're not all as expensive as you think they are. Maybe for a post you might charge so much money, but if you negotiate a monthly retainer, you could almost get them at a wholesale price. And not only are they posting and tagging you in their stories and on their timeline with content that they know is going to perform well for their audience, but that content's going to perform well for yours too. This guy I know won't have a large Facebook page, but if you do find a different type of influencer who has a large Facebook page, I would also suggest running ads from their Facebook page. Most influencers focus on their Instagram account or their YouTube channel and overlook their Facebook. So most of them won't care to give you editor access as long as you don't post anything on the timeline. But when you have editor access, you could use your ad account and their content to run Facebook ads to their fans, people like their fans, or people that engage with their content and things like that. It makes it less salesy and branded, and it's definitely worth a test. Okay, so we talked about Instagram. Oh, leaving Sarah, leaving Jacob. Let's see what else. Let's follow you and see what kind of similar people we have. Instagram is slow right now. All right. So these are people similar to your account. There are a couple types of competitors. There are direct competitors and there are indirect competitors. Direct competitors obviously are people competing with the same kind of products and service, with your customers in mind. Indirect competitors are people who have your customers in mind, but they have a different product or service, and they're great to collaborate with. They might have a stronger email list. They might have been around longer or something like that, but they're great for collaborations. And that's something like who I would say would be an indirect competitor of you guys would be Wolf and Shepherd. So these people sell shoes at the same price point that you guys sell your leather goods. I don't know if they sell any leather goods. I think they focus on shoes. And with that in mind, this would be a great potential collaboration. One thing I like about them that I was attracted to them initially because they had, how do I get myself more in the frame? There I am. Okay, so Wolf and Shepherd kind of had a really good video where these shoes are designed to be extremely comfortable, and they had someone on their team run a marathon or a half marathon in these shoes, and they made it all the way. And of course, by the end, anyone's feet's going to be hurting, but the fact that they were able to do it in dress shoes is pretty impressive. So that's one content, that's one story they told that had a strong impact, and that's what got my attention to them. I haven't bought any Wolf and Shepherd shoes, so this is a good case study. Also, I think I am a case study for Wolf and Shepherd because I will buy their shoes someday, but I haven't yet. But as a result, I follow them on Facebook. I talk about them to other people, and I subscribe to their newsletter. I follow them on Instagram, and I subscribe to their newsletter. So I get reminders, and I'll probably end up buying them next year on Black Friday, which means I followed them for 2 years before I converted. And that might be something that some of your followers and audience do is, so don't take anything for granted because they might do that. But also, as I talk about Wolf and Shepherd, I might be planting that seed of inception in other people who buy quicker. So I'm essentially almost a brand ambassador without even owning their shoes. And that's something that, just keep in mind. I haven't converted, so they might not consider me a customer. But the fact that I follow them, I engage, I talk to them, and I'm using them as a case study in this video is pretty strong to show that, there is a desire there. I just can't justify buying $300-400 shoes, dress shoes, because I don't dress up. I work in social media. I dressed up for this video by putting on a collar shirt, but I'm wearing joggers beneath this and tennis shoes. And that said, I do walk a lot, and I would like to walk around in dress shoes if the occasion arises. I think this would be great for realtors. Okay, enough of them. We're talking about you. So, and their Instagram isn't anything that's remarkable either. So, but they do have some really cool lifestyle content, and I think you guys should, emphasize some of that lifestyle content with product posts. You guys are doing that to an extent, and I think that is good. right here, and then this is lifestyle without product, which is good too, because you don't want to just blast people with your product all the time. It gets monotonous. Um, One thing too, like Airbnb has some great like scenic outside photos on their Instagram. It's all curated from users. So I would definitely, if you're going to throw in something like this or this, I would say look at theirs and repost some of their content. Always credit the photographer. This is good too. So one other thing I would say on the content side is find a photographer who travels around and make a deal with them where you give them free products for them to photograph in exchange for their services. Photographers aren't generally making six figures a year, so this is a high quality thing. Every photographer I know has some sort of bag or backpack. This backpack also fits a computer as well as other gear. So if you send them that gear and then maybe put them on like a $500 a month or $300 a month retainer not every photographer would do that, but there are so many people out there that are naturally good with the camera that are traveling and doing things. You'll find a really good one at a great price, and it's going to cost you very much, and your ROI, just getting the content, is going to be so much more valuable. So that's something I would say is like, hey, when you're going to go shoot these models at this really cool house, while they're changing or into their other clothes or outfits or anything, why don't you just put this on the couch, or why don't you sit this next to her if she's cool with that? So there's so many great ideas with content, and sometimes you need to expand and let other people generate those ideas too. But again, and also, have them try and make a video, a couple videos a month. One more thing I'm all over the place. One more thing going back here, the behind the scenes stuff, I'd love to see clips of. You should just have someone there taking 15-second clips with their iPhone. Send them an iPhone if you need to. And like, this is all Instagram stories content right here. Like, all of this stuff, this is Instagram stories content. And then you could also do a YouTube video content, and you could also do IGTV, which hasn't gone away, but it's might do something. But it's there. Story highlights, things of that nature. That's all very valuable. And I would definitely, a 30-second video of you just walking through the thing or just showing someone doing one thing, like putting a zipper on a bag. It could be really, I've seen that perform really well on Facebook organically. And you put a couple dollars behind it, just goes boom. So yeah, mix it up a bit. I wrote some things down too. So influencers, notes on paper. So influencers, one thing I would suggest is look at some high quality micro influencers. I think one guy that would be good if he ever responds to his DMs, Frank Kern. No resentment there, by the way. I sent him some content, and he doesn't know how to use Instagram either, or how to use Instagram. He doesn't. So I would try and get Frank Kern on board, because he's got people spending $20,000 a month for him, and he doesn't have the largest audience, but I think he's got 20,000 followers. So I'm just like, dude, with spending that much, if you send him some solid gear, I'm sure he'll talk about it. Or when he's going to a meeting, and he rolls up in his Rolls Royce and he's got this really cool, backpack or briefcase, or it's classic, it's elegant, but it's also very simple and minimalist in style. How is that not remarkable? How does that not strike up a conversation? So I had Frank Kern, Timothy Sykes, maybe. He's more of that laptop lifestyle, so he might want the Gucci or Louis Vuitton because his audience is a younger audience that's going to convert. So sometimes you have to be like the baller. So I don't think your thing might do. It might work with his audience, probably won't. Brandon Hampton and Stephanie. So I work with Brandon. They'd be great. So they're vegan. I don't know if they don't wear leather. Well, I don't think they wear leather. I don't know. So it's worth a conversation there. I could make an intro. You might know Brandon. But they do like high quality, classy, nice things, and minimalist is awesome. And then, of course, I put Sarah Underwood and Jacob down there. They would be awesome too. I don't know if their audiences convert. You never know, but the content outside of it is great ROI too. I mentioned hashtags. I mentioned video content. I mentioned time lapse, um, behind the scenes products to photographers. Okay, so I gave you all my ideas. Let's look at Twitter real quick. And somebody's sawing outside. I live in Hollywood. Like, what are you sawing outside? Metal? Sounds like it. Or grinding. Okay, so one thing I like about Twitter is you could put a link in everything. And that's something I would always put a link in everything on Twitter. Like, why not? Um, and if you do, don't send it to other people's websites. So this is cool. Actually, this might be about you, but yeah, I would say like when you're posting links, try and drive traffic to your site. Unless it's like directly to an article about you. I mean, you could always just take a screenshot of the headline and the thing of someone else's and post, and then write your 2 cents above it. Keep in mind, like 80% of people only read the headlines anyways, so a screenshot of an article with an image is going to probably be just as good. And then you could put a link to your website. So that's something I would do. Um, I would test different hashtags. A brand hashtag is cool if you're Coca-Cola. And it's cool if you're going to like go back and look at all your stuff, or if you're having a bunch of influencers, or if you have this community like Fashion Nova using the hashtag, who are going to like where you could click on that and then go through all the product. But in this case, I don't think it would be totally relevant at this point in time. Um, you could be using that if you use hashtag handmade, you would get some extra likes. If you use hashtag leather or that kind of stuff would be well. A good hashtag site for Instagram is called hashtagify.me. Yeah, hashtagify me or hash. I don't know. It's called hashtagify. Just Google that plus Twitter and you'll find it, and they'll give you the best hashtags for this. So like hashtag fashion, hashtag um, style blogger, fashion blogger, things of that nature will all perform well. Other than that, I think it's. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Twitter. I look at Twitter as the junk drawer. The runoff of all the content is just like post everything there, add some relevant hashtags that are going to get the most reach and engagement, and always have a link to your website. Let me show you American Hat Makers thing. Office. I talk way too long, man. I hope this is still video recording. Here we go. This is how I do it, and it's not like the perfect way. It's just the way I do it, and it's worked. And they don't have a massive audience, right? But I generally have everything when it posts to Instagram. I have it automatically zapped into my buffer, where then I could go and I could add some hashtags, and that posted well. That's a pin post. But here, each one of these posts. Hold on. So I have some sort of quote. This is a Mad Hatter quote. I literally Google like fashion quotes. I Google outdoors quotes. I Google couples quotes, life quotes, things like that. I don't think at all. I let Google do everything for me. So I Google those quotes. I'll put them in the caption here. Then you'll see the Mad Hatter. I use Buffer, so it automatically shortens the link and tracks it. And then handmade leather top hat. No likes. Well, now they got a like. You're not always going to get engagement, but generally you'll get some extra ones. One thing I noticed too, and I don't really trust Buffer's analytics for this reason, is Buffer says that it gets higher engagement than it actually does. Not engagement, but actual link clicks. Let's take a look. I'm completely going off track here. Oh, here I am. 22 clicks. What does that mean? You guys are bullshitting as hard as Facebook are, I'd swear. That said, I mean, it could be like a bot clicking on the image or something like that. It could be somebody stopping a thing. But if you had 26 clicks, that's not accurate. But I think you might be getting a couple clicks out of it. And the definition of a click is extremely broad depending on the software. So, yeah, maybe I should cut this part out of the video because I'm going to just not be sure what Buffer's talking about. Okay, what else? Timeline, Facebook. Wow, you guys had a page here since 2014. All right. So as far as following, like I don't. Oh, Omar likes you guys. Omar's cool. I wouldn't worry about growing your Facebook or anything. One thing I would suggest is run Facebook ads because you're going to start growing your audience by people seeing your ads, and the people who like it are the right people. If this is a real authentic audience, 2,674 people, I would boost posts to people who like your page and their fans, and I would also test that audience for cold traffic to your website. One thing I am anti-links on Facebook unless you're running ads, because Facebook hates driving traffic outside of their platform because now they're not making money. Facebook makes all their money by users staying on the platform. So every time you post a link, that's why reach and engagement is so much lower. What I would do is I would focus on the posts you have similar on Instagram, boost those. Boost the top posts. Facebook will even tell you what the top posts are. But also every time you post a link here, you're driving traffic to somebody else's site, where you could just screenshot this. Like I said before, I would go to this site. I would just take a screenshot from my phone of the headline and the image, and then I would just post that and throw my 2 cents. There it is, right there. This is your social media post right here. Because nobody's going to read. There's so many words. I mean, people don't read nowadays. All right, so we covered Facebook, we covered Instagram, we covered Twitter. I talked about Facebook, I talked about retargeting. I'm not going to cover YouTube, but I did suggest some content for that. And look, you have a photographer right here. Who's this guy? He's got a lot of likes. He's in Australia. And of course, when you're testing on running ads on Facebook, cast a wide net and look at the data. Don't spend too much. And then you look at the data and you see, all right, what's converting, what's doing the best. And then you narrow it down from there and you retarget based off of that. No, get off of my Facebook right now. So many notifications. So we've got a photographer here. Maybe you're friends with him. Maybe he's a part owner or something. Give him some product. Oh, we've got another photographer. So, so photographers are great because they create content. They tend to also have a high quality audience themselves, and they're traveling all over the place. So they could take like several of your bags, or if they're going to stay in Thailand or Bali for a couple of weeks, just ship a bunch of product out there. And again, I don't know your profit margins. I don't know the cost of manufacturing and all of that stuff. So I can't say that it's going to be, it's not going to be cheap, but you really need to invest in that kind of stuff because that's what people are looking for. And it's a great solution. I do think you guys do have good content. This video has 32 likes. Put some money behind it. Boost it for $5. Now, I'm assuming you guys might have Business Manager. Make sure that your pixel on your website is connected to your ad account so you can retarget people. With Shopify, you could automatically start dynamically retargeting people based on products they looked at. So, like, I should be seeing your products in my newsfeed a day from now. You already have the pixel in place, so it's just a matter of setting that up. It's pretty easy too. I figured it out, and if I could figure it out, anyone can. I just sound smart. Don't let these glasses fool you. All right, I am done talking. I've talked way too much. I covered a lot of stuff. I went all over the place. I hope that was sufficient. Thank you for the opportunity. Oh, and I stopped sharing.